Hey guys, Tony here, back with your update for Sunday, April 7th on AMC stock. Let's talk a little bit about the dilution, where it is at as far as the status of getting that done, what I think is going to happen as far as the stock trading range for next week. I want to talk on a bit of the drama, gossip, and news from the past week, including the Cinemark upgrade that came out. And we had that proxy statement hit on Friday. We'll touch on that very briefly. If you got a couple minutes, let's get right into it. We did get a tweet today, Sunday, from CEO Adam Aron saying that ahead of this week's annual CinemaCon conclave, I was in LA all last week with numerous major studio execs, as well as very talented directors and accomplished producers. I am so encouraged by the film slate for the second half of 2024 and all of 2025 and 2026. So many really big movies coming. Now, I just got out of a movie myself. I went to go see The Final Omen today. That is an excellent movie. I'll post a review on that later when I have time. Tomorrow, I'm going to go see an early screening of Civil War in IMAX. I'm super excited about that. And if I have time this week, the other movies that I plan on seeing are Monkey Man and finally getting Ghostbusters out of the way, because I haven't seen that yet. Remember, particularly if you are invested in AMC, the number one thing you can do to support the stock is to go support the company. Go see a movie, buy some popcorn, buy some concessions. This tweet from CEO Adam Aron comes on the heels of a double upgrade from Wells Fargo on Cinemark last week. Many of you saw this news article, and I saw a lot of you out in social media asking out loud, how could Cinemark possibly get a double upgrade but not AMC? And to understand the answer to that question, I'd invite you to go watch any of the quarterly updates I do on Cinemark. I put those out there so that you can understand the financial setup of the competition and where they're at. With the box office coming in at $1.6 billion for Q1, I'm not sure that it is a slam dunk that Cinemark is going to make a profit in Q1. I don't think that that is what that double upgrade was from Wells Fargo on Cinemark. But we do know that Q2 and Q3 in particular are going to be pretty good. The box office might not be big enough in Q2 and Q3 for AMC to print a profit, but it certainly will be for Cinemark. That has to do with one very basic thing, that their financial structure is different than AMC. AMC is a speculative play with a high amount of debt. Cinemark is carrying much less debt. And if we look at the Q1 2023, when the box office was just over $1.7 billion, they had negative $3 million in net income. They'll probably have a negative in Q1, but we know Q2 and Q3 are going to be much bigger than Q1 in this year, and Cinemark is likely to post a healthy profit in both of those quarters. This particular analyst from Wells Fargo had a $13 price target for Cinemark. It's been trading around 18. Other analysts already have Cinemark guided at $20, $22, $23. So the double upgrade from the Wells Fargo analyst was just to get him more in line with the other analysts, because they are going to have good quarters the next 2 quarters. Hopefully we can look forward to a much better box office in 2025, and maybe at that point we can start seeing these type of upgrades from the industry analyst on AMC. Now let's move on and talk about this proxy statement that was released on April 5th after hours. This is a preliminary 14A that is typically released 10 days before the definitive 14A. So don't expect to see any emails asking you to vote just yet. There's going to be another release. Sometimes there are a couple preliminary proxy statements released, but once we get the definitive 14A here in the next couple weeks, then after that, you'll start getting the emails or the notices from your broker that it is time for you to go and vote. Moving on to touch base again on the dilution. I know there are some people that are still very confused how the price dropped to $3. Let me break this down to you like an idiot with a calculator. The dilution we expect is going to be about 30%, say around 75 or so million shares. We know the float was what, around 230 million shares. Add 75 million shares or so. That is a 30% dilution to existing shareholders. The price before the dilution was around $4.30. Subtract 30% from that, it is normal for the price to drop to about $3 so that the market cap stays the same. You don't need to use rocket science. You don't need to be a conspiracy theorist. You don't need to blame Adam Aron. It is just basic market dynamics. If you haven't learned that by now, it's time to get on board and learn how these things work. That's why you don't want to be holding the stock ahead of a dilution, but the company does need to raise cash. They're going to burn, I expect, about $250 million in Q1. What they have in cash, $880 million minus $250, might not be enough to last them all the way into 2025. I think that they're just trying to replenish that $250 million and go into the rest of this year and the early part of next year strong. You want a strong company, let them fix the balance sheet. They still have a majorly negative working capital problem, even with these cash raises that they are doing. I know a lot of you are upset that the company is diluting. Again, if you aren't looking at the financial statements, none of this is going to make sense to you. But the company has been telling you for years in every quarterly 10Q and 10K, the earnings calls with management, that their strategy was to repair the balance sheet. There are two basic levers that they have to pull to fix the balance sheet. That is increase cash and or reduce debt. And it's hard to reduce debt without increasing cash. So you're seeing them do a little bit of both, a lot of increasing cash, a little bit of paying off debt. And the reason they're holding on to as much cash as they can is they have a working capital problem. At one point, just 4 quarters ago, almost negative $1 billion in working capital. So you can write all the letters to Congress you want. You can write all the letters to Gary Gensler. You can send me or Adam Aron or whoever you hate the most all the nasty comments that you want on Twitter and YouTube. But if you're not looking at things like the balance sheet and negative $1 billion in working capital, I understand. None of this is going to make sense to you. Spend some time on this channel, learn how the financial statements work, and we will help it make sense. By my best guess, we're going to get an 8K probably around the end of this month that the company sold somewhere close to around 70 to 75 million shares at an average price just over $3 to raise the $250 million bucks. I think that they're somewhere between 50% to 66% done with the dilution already. How long is it going to take to finish? Depends on what the daily volume is over the next couple weeks. If you want to know more details about the spreadsheet that I have here where we're calculating and tracking the dilution, then please go watch the video updates I did on dilution last week. Just to recap what I have been doing over the last week and how I'm going to be playing the next week or two. Not financial advice specific to you, just sharing with you what I am thinking, what I'm doing, as I always do here. I was buying last week under $3. I sold some cash secured puts that expire this coming Friday with a $3 strike price. If it closes under $3 on Friday, April 12th, then I will take those shares. I will buy those shares at $3. Meanwhile, I have already collected the premium from selling those cash secured puts. As far as any other shares that I just plan to buy with straight cash, I'm going to wait and see how it opens up on Monday. I'd like to see the stock trade flat all of next week. I don't want to see a big drop on Monday morning. I also don't think that there's going to be any major push up in the price while the dilution is still ongoing. There will still be some volatility. You'll have some upward momentum, 5, 10, 25 cents, maybe a little bit more, but AMC will be selling into that, and that will push the price back down. I don't think that they want to be selling under $3, but they also don't control the price. Adam Aron and AMC are not in charge of the price. They're only in charge of when they dump those extra shares into the market. So hopefully the overall market is not bad next week. Hopefully the shorts aren't putting extra pressure on the price. Hopefully we can stay in this $3 range or higher, and AMC can get this dang dilution done and behind us. If all goes well and the price holds in this range, I will be continuing to rebuild my AMC position, and I will be sitting with a overall cost basis around $3 on my entire AMC position. And then we hope that Q2 and Q3 are good and that we can profit from some upward movement. Things that I'm worried about risk-wise is obviously the fact that we still don't have any news on the debt restructuring. So I need to keep that in mind, in the back of my mind, as a major risk. It's just an unknown. I don't know if it's going to be good or bad news when they announce the debt restructuring. So that is the major thing that I'd like to have out of the way that if I was going to lose any sleep at night, that would be it, because I don't like unknowns and I know that they're actively working on it. And I don't know what's going to happen to the price once they announce the news. It depends on what they announce. That is all I've got for you today. If you have questions or comments, please drop them below. And I hope to see you this evening on our cryptocurrency live stream. That will be starting here in just a few minutes once this video gets uploaded. I'm Tony Denaro, and I will see ya on the next video.